Thank you for taking the time to view this presentation on Unified Access. My name is James Rodman, and I'm a Senior Project Manager at the Indiana Department of Education. This presentation will provide an overview of Unified Access and go in depth on the training for security coordinators and how they can manage the staff types or roles within the system. Unified Access is part of the IDOE's LINK initiative that establishes the technical foundation for the LINK projects and the IDOE's new modernized systems. Unified Access includes the LINK portal, where all users can log in to IDOE systems via a common location. We are excited to be utilizing a technology called Identity Server, which allows the IDOE to recognize cloud identities such as Google G Suite or Microsoft 365. Authorization is handled within a new security portal, and every corporation or non-public school has a security coordinator. Security coordinators can manage staff types or roles, which provide a person access to different IDOE apps within the system. In addition, the IDOE's core data has been restructured into a new database called MDM, or Master Data Management. This includes revamping the IDOE's listing of corporations and schools, adding the concept of networks, which make it possible to support organizations such as charter authorizers, special education cooperatives, migrant centers, etc. Another core set of data points are the student test numbers, STNs, and school personnel numbers, SPNs. These identities will have new databases and updated APIs to better manage them. Unified Access technologies are built with the EdFi data standard and structure. The EdFi data standard is a set of rules for the collection, management, and organization of educational data that allows multiple systems to share their information in a seamless, actionable way. Unified Access incorporates data from the Indiana EdFi certified SIS. The IDOE has designed the staff types in such a way that they can be sent directly from the school's Indiana EdFi certified Student Information System, or SIS. That is, after we have connected to your Indiana EdFi certified SIS. Setting staff types directly within the Security Access portal is meant as a way to get started while transitioning to new modern technologies. In the upcoming slides, I will be showing how a security coordinator can add staff types manually within the security portal. Before adding too many of the staff types manually, I encourage you to have a conversation with your SIS vendor on where to enter the data or information in the local SIS software. This will ensure any data submitted manually will be in sync with data entered in your local student information system. This is the architectural diagram developed by Cletus Gibson, Senior Architect at the DOE, for the security portal and how staff types enter the system. For over 10 years, Cletus has been evaluating and researching different technologies that will allow single sign-on to become a reality for the DOE. With the implementation of Identity Server, all public and charter staff, as well as the majority of non-public staff throughout the state, can log in to the LINK portal with either the sign-in using Google or the sign-in using Microsoft option. As you can see from the diagram, there are two entry points for staff types or roles. The first entry point is via the Indiana EdFi compliant Student Information System. Data that is transferred via XML from the schools into the system via the EdFi API and lands into the database known as the EdFi ODS, or Operational Data Store. The staff types are then processed via a data pipeline into the authorization service, which controls the access to secure applications. The other entry point is the security portal. When a security coordinator logs into the security portal and enters the staff type manually, this sends the staff types into both the ODS via the EdFi API, as well as placing that staff type directly within the authorization service. This is done so that there's no need for the end user to wait for the authorization to take effect. Third-party applications or customized off-the-shelf products utilize standard OAuth authentication and claims from the IDOE system to integrate. Examples include IDOE's new IntelliGrant system, the Data Exchange Validation Portal, the InView CMS system, and logging into IDOE's Moodle platform. Here's an overview of where we are at with the implementation of Identity Server, which allows the IDOE to recognize the local G Suite or Microsoft 365 accounts. At this time, every public school corporation and charter school in the state is connected. That means as of right now, every public school educator can log in to the link portal without needing to have an IDOE username and password. In addition, 95% of accredited non-public schools are also connected utilizing one of these options. The DOE is able to configure Identity Server to recognize the Google or Microsoft domains of any education organization that needs to have access to DOE systems. This includes the education service centers, charter authorizers, special education cooperatives or interlocals, migrant centers, centers that serve neglected and delinquent students, as well as other community providers such as the Boys and Girls Club of Indiana. Many of these organizations have already had their domain accounts recognized. Information on how to register your organization's domain is on our website at www.doe.in.gov/link/unified access. Here's an example of how authorization works. An Indiana educator, Janet Martin, utilizes either the Sign In with Google or the Sign In with Microsoft option to authenticate or log in. For organizations that do not have one of these options, we do offer a third option for login, which is the local login. However, the use of this option means managing IDOE usernames and passwords for your staff. The second step in the process is that the security coordinator assigns the staff types or roles within the system. The staff types provide authorization to secure systems for a user. Please note that when assigning staff types, we will utilize the school personnel number or SPN for staff to assist in making sure that the appropriate person has the needed access. Finally, secure apps are displayed to the users based on the staff types they have been provided. All of the modernized applications such as IntelliGrants, Data Exchange, InView, etc. will utilize this new process for authorization. Legacy IDOE systems that are set for retirement or will be incorporated into newer linked systems such as Learning Connection, DOE Online, the STN Application Center, etc. will continue to utilize the existing login process until they are retired. IDOE is targeting all DOE systems for incorporation behind the link portal by 2024. When Janet or others go to the link portal, link.doe.in.gov, the system will first roll over to identity.doe.in.gov and will display this login screen. Security coordinators should assist your staff in knowing which option, Google or Microsoft, they should utilize. A common mistake for staff is to enter their username and password in the email and password text boxes rather than choosing the Sign In with Google or Sign In with Microsoft options. Another common mistake is utilizing the Forgot Password feature. Since the vast majority of educators do not have an IDOE username and password, this feature will not function for them. Users who need a password reset for their G Suite or Microsoft accounts should contact local technical assistance. Once Janet logs in successfully, she will be presented with tiles or apps that pertain to her based on the staff types assigned by the security coordinator. The apps that utilize SSO for authentication have an icon of a lock on them, whereas the ones that simply provide a link to a public site or don't yet utilize SSO have an unlocked symbol. The security coordinators will have the Security Access app. This is where the staff types for others within the organization are managed. Next, we will discuss how users are configured within the system. After an organization sends in the needed information for their local G Suite or Microsoft domain, the IDOE will do two things. The first thing IDOE does is configure Identity Server to recognize the domain. Then, IDOE will configure the authorization service to recognize the organization's leader and will notify them of the onboarding procedures. For public and charter schools, this is the superintendent. For non-public schools, this will be the leader of that school. The organization leader is responsible for accepting the legal assurances for the corporation and designating up to 2 security coordinators. Instructions on how to do this, as well as on how to change who the security coordinators are can be located on our Unified Access website. A security coordinator should have a domain account, should be in charge of managing the accounts on the domain, ensure that security policies are in place, and that security best practices are followed. They will have the responsibility for managing account access, roles, and for the decommissioning of access to DOE systems when employees leave. Once the organization lead has designated the security coordinators can log in and manage the staff types for others within the organization. The next slides will demonstrate how this is done. Security coordinators can either log in directly to the security portal, security.doe.in.gov, or they may log in to the link portal. If they log in via the link portal, they will have the Security Access app, or tile, shown here in the upper right. Security coordinators will see the organizations for which they are configured and will have a Manage Staff Types button for each organization. Please note that the organization lead will have a Manage Security Coordinator button where they will identify who the security coordinators are. Upon choosing the Manage Staff Types option, the Staff Type Assignments page will display any existing staff types for your organization that are within the system. Here are some tips on how to utilize this page. Entering information into the top row will filter the information to display only rows that match this information. Also, the name displayed on this page will come directly from the local Google G Suite or Microsoft 365 account and will appear once the user has logged in the first time. Any rows of information that do not have a name next to them indicate that either the user has not logged out and back in, or the email entered does not match their Google or Microsoft login. To add a new staff type for a person, click on the Add Staff Type Assignment button. To add a staff type, complete the following. Email. This must be the G Suite or Microsoft 365 email that they are logging into. SPN or School Personnel Number. This is an 8-digit unique identifier issued by the IDOE. State Organization ID. We'll be covering this in the upcoming slide. Begin date. Enter either today's date or the contract begin date. If you enter a future date, the staff type will not be active until that time. End date. Enter this if you know the date the access for an employee should end, such as a contract end date. Otherwise, I recommend to leave this field blank. I want to expand a bit more on a few of the fields needed. School Personnel Number. This is a unique 8-digit identifier issued by the IDOE. All staff requiring access to IDOE applications must have one. To obtain an SPN, please work with the person who does your state reports. This person will log into the SDN Application Center and perform a lookup on existing SPNs. They'll need the staff member's date of birth and last 4 Social Security number. Upon finding no matches for a non-certified staff member, they may request an SPN number be assigned. Newly created SPNs will be available for use within LINC the following day. Please note, for non-certified staff, the state reporting professional may request an SPN be assigned through the Application Center. For certified licensed staff, they must obtain the SPN from the staff's license or contact the DOE licensing department to obtain the SPN for the certified employee. Do not create an SPN for a licensed staff member via the SDN Application Center. State Organization ID. This is a unique 10-digit alphanumeric ID issued by the IDOE. Corps and schools generally consist of 10 plus the corp number plus the school number. Other organizations can locate their 10-digit state organization ID within the security portal. For example, Avon Community Schools has a corp ID of 3315, so their state organization ID would be 10 3315 0000. Avon High School has a school ID of 2737, so their state organization ID would be 10 3315 2737. St. Monica School, C445, does not have a corp number and does have a school ID number of C445. So their state organization ID would be 10-0000-C445. Please note that all non-public schools will have 000 in the court position, including those that are members of a diocese or other network of non-public schools. The next slides will outline the different staff types and what they are utilized for. Some terminology before we begin. Staff type, traditionally referred to as a role. This is short for staff classification type, which is the database field name in the Ed-Fi ODS. Staff types will carry over from IDOE system to IDOE system, so organizations should be thoughtful of who is assigned each role. IDOE will map staff types to third-party COTS tools. Therefore, users may see role descriptions in those systems that differ from the staff types in the security portal. Decorator. A decorator is a staff type that adds additional functionality to another staff type. For example, data certification is an add-on staff type that functions in conjunction with and adds functionality to LEA administrator or financial administrator. This is a powerful combination that will have sign-off power across IDOE systems. You won't see the word decorator anywhere in the system. However, please note what they are and how they will be utilized. This section will highlight the key contact staff types. These are the key contact staff types. Key contacts are a subset of staff types and are intended to be utilized only for communication by the IDOE, and unlike other staff types, do not provide access or functionality within other systems. Communication from the IDOE to appropriate staff is critical for effective communication and will allow increased support and notification to schools of various opportunities, including financial matters. Please assist the IDOE in streamlining communications by keeping your key contacts up to date. Key contacts are primarily for corporations and schools. If an educational organization does not have one of the listed key contacts, only those that are applicable need to be identified. For example, a special education cooperative would not have a principal and not enter this staff type. Superintendent and assistant superintendent staff types should be assigned to the corporation's state organization ID. Principal and assistant principal staff types should be assigned to the state organization ID of the school. Please note that IDOE has not officially transferred the assessment test coordinator and special education director listings to the key contacts. IDOE will officially communicate when these transitions happen. While we encourage you to enter these contacts within security access, please continue to follow the official existing procedures so that these offices have the contact information they need. The special education director key contact for a corporation should only be completed if the person identified is the local special education contact and is employed by the corporation. If you are a member of a special education cooperative, the special education director of the cooperative will be entered by the cooperative. You may or may not also have a local special education director to enter. In a similar manner, the charter authorizers will provide the special education directors for their organization's network. This section will highlight staff types that are utilized as traditional roles. One of the first staff types the security coordinator of a public corporation or charter will set is that of LEA administrator. This staff type should be assigned to those staff who are or will be responsible for overseeing the data for their corporation. It is recommended the LEA administrator role is assigned to superintendents or director-level persons within a public corporation. Use the corporation's state organization ID for this staff type. The decorator role of data certification that goes along with LEA administrator is a powerful combination. This provides sign-off power throughout IDOE systems. For example, with data exchange, a person with these roles is able to complete the certification or sign-off process that the student-level counts submitted to the state are accurate and without error. They are responsible for the final review and certification or sign-off of the 6 data certification submission cycles. Within the IntelliGrant system, This staff member will have the ability to oversee all grants, sign contracts, and be the second signature on reimbursements. One of the first staff types the security coordinator of a non-public school will set is that of school administrator. This staff type should be assigned to those staff who are or will be responsible for overseeing the data for their school. It is recommended that the school administrator role be assigned to the director or principal within the school. Make sure to utilize the state organization ID of the school. The decorator role of data certification that goes along with school administrator is a powerful combination. This provides sign-off power throughout IDOE systems for a non-public school administrator. For example, within data exchange, a person with these roles is able to complete the certification or sign-off process that the student-level counts submitted to the state are accurate and without error. They are responsible for the final review and certification or sign-off of the 6 data certification submission cycles. Within the IntelliGrants system, this staff member will have the ability to oversee all grants, sign contracts, and be the second signature on reimbursements for their school. Next is the financial administrator staff type. It is recommended this role is assigned to the financial officer, CFO, etc. of a corporation or non-public school. If you are a corporation or charter, you will want to assign this role at the state organization ID of the corporation. This staff type should be assigned to those staff who are or will be responsible for the final review. The decorator role of data certification that goes along with financial administrator is a powerful combination. This provides sign-off power throughout IDOE systems for a financial administrator. For example, within data exchange, a person with these roles is able to complete the certification or sign-off of the 6 data certification submission cycles as it pertains to financial data counts. Within the IntelliGrants system, this staff member will have the ability to all financial aspects of the grant and initiate reimbursement requests. The main staff type for the data exchange system is that of data administrator. You might think of this as the state reporting role. The staff type of data administrator is for staff who are responsible for reviewing the data validation results from either a template upload or direct flow of data from the student information system to the IDOE. It is recommended that these staff have an overall knowledge and understanding of all student and staff data requirements. These staff will have the ability to see all errors, warnings, and conflicts in the submitted data. They will have the ability to export this information to Excel for distribution to other staff for the correction as needed. These staff will have the ability to view total student and staff counts for verification. These staff will have the ability to utilize the templates to upload data not supported through the local student information system. These staff will also have the ability to look up STNs and SPNs, or identities. The data viewer staff type will have the ability to review data across IDOE systems. For example, within the data exchange system, a user with this staff type will be able to view data validation results from either a template upload or direct flow of data from the student information system to the IDOE. These staff will have the ability to see all errors, warnings, and conflicts in the submitted data. They will have the ability to export this information to Excel for distribution to other staff for correction as needed. These staff will have the ability to view total student and staff counts for verification. These staff will have the ability to look up STNs and SPNs, or identities. They will not have the ability to upload data utilizing the templates. A person with the data viewer staff type will not be able to view grant information within IntelliGrants. As mentioned earlier, decorator staff types are not the primary roles for a person. Rather, they provide additional functionality to a staff type. As mentioned earlier, the data certification staff type can be added to a person who is an LEA administrator at a corporation or charter, or a school administrator at a non-public school. This special permission distinguishes that person as a person who can sign off on data. This may be signing off on a student level count within the data exchange system, or it may be signing contracts or the ability to approve or oversee grants within the IntelliGrant system. Similarly, the data certification staff type, when added to a person who already has the financial administrator staff type, will be able to sign off on the financial reports in the data exchange system, the money collections, as well as sign off on reimbursement requests. Other decorator staff types are specific to the IntelliGrant system, although they may be used for future IDOE systems as well. They are Grant Viewer, which provides view-only permissions for grants, program reports, and reimbursement requests. Grant Contributor. This staff type allows the person to contribute grants after being assigned. This decorator staff type, when combined with data certification, enables this person to become the main grant writer for a specific grant or grants that they are assigned to. How to implement. The following are some tips for security coordinators on how to implement the link portal within your organization. First, make sure staff understand how to log in using the Login with Google or Login with Microsoft option. IDOE also recommends that you have a conversation with the SIS vendor. The intent is to have this data come from the Indiana EdFi compliant SIS. Work with your state reporting person to make sure all staff have a school personnel number. Assign only the staff types that are needed. Work with your organization leadership to know who will have which staff types. Remember that staff types will carry over from the IDOE system to IDOE system, so organizations should be thoughtful of who is assigned each role. For example, LEA Administrator plus Data Certification is a powerful combination that will have sign-off power across systems. And finally, make sure that key contact staff types are entered into the system and kept up to date. Accurate contact information from the schools to the IDOE is vital to the support and implementation of key programs. This slide represents the staff type configurations at a corporation where there aren't very many persons who interact with the IDOE on a regular basis. While there are more staff types which allow for more users to be configured in order to obtain different roles throughout IDOE systems, these are the main staff types that are necessary. Again, make sure to enter all applicable key contacts. Designate the appropriate persons as LEA Administrator. Non-publics will designate school administrators. Identify the person or persons who will have the decorator role of data certification. Designate the appropriate persons as financial administrator. Non-publics will also designate a financial administrator. Identify the person or persons who will have the decorator role of data certification. Finally, I recommend reviewing the remaining roles and needs for more complex needs within your corporation or school. Some of the other staff types are provided to allow other persons to take on lesser responsibilities, yet still be able to contribute to IDOE processes and procedures. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. IDOE hopes that you find the modernized unified access systems to be straightforward and understandable. We are happy to answer any questions that you might have. For support, email link@doe.in.gov or enter a help ticket. FAQs and other documentation are posted online on our website at www.doe.in.gov/link/unified-access. Thank you.